top drawer Golden Age musicals like Carousel and My Fair Lady, both coming to Broadway next spring, are still eminently playable. Those in the third drawer, and below, eminently aren't. After their one shot at resuscitation in City Center's Encores series, they hastily returned to the dusty Weehawken warehouse where they were unfortunately rediscovered. Irma la Douse, I mean you. But what about the second drawer? What do you do, for instance, with Brigadoon, the 1947 musical fantasy by the My Fair Lady team of Alan J. Lerner, book and lyrics, and Frederick Loewy, music? Can its felicities and beauties be restored in ways that, despite its infelicities and bizarreries, still move and delight us? Until Wednesday night, I would have said no. As the books of musicals have lurched forward in sophistication, the story of a town that awakens in the mists of Scotland only one day out of every century has come to seem both weird and trite, an impression only enhanced by revisiting the turgid 1954 Vincente Minnelli film. And there's a reason the show's most recent major stage revival was at City Opera in 1996. Yet Wednesday must have been one of those once-a-century days, because the opening of the City Center production of Brigadoon, directed and choreographed by Christopher Wheeldon, was, for the first act anyway, glorious. And if part of that glory was historical, showing us what made musicals tick at the start of the golden age of Broadway in the 1940s, part of it, too, was vehemently alive. M.R. Wheeldon's dances certainly fit that bill, and so does Loewy's triple cream music, sensitively rendered by the Encores Orchestra under the direction of Rob Behrman. Much more than ordinary encores outings, the staging, an off-season edition, was the centerpiece of a gala that raised $1.9 million for City Center. This production of Brigadoon is a polished affair, with no books in hand and uncompromised ambition. But by vehemently alive, I refer especially to Kelly O'Hara, who stars as Fiona McLaren. It can be no surprise that she sings the part well. She has always sung everything well. And though her voice, impossibly, continues to bloom, it is the naturalness of her style, both in singing and acting, that make her irreplaceable in material like this. Naturally, her duets with Patrick Wilson as Tommy Albright, the American who stumbles upon Brigadoon and falls in love with Fiona, are gorgeous. The Heather on the Hill, almost like being in love, and, from this day on, aren't standards for nothing. M.R. Wilson, in big voice, has something to do with that. But also in scenes that can otherwise turn twee, ms. O'Hara releases the best part of the writing with an almost Spartan unfussiness. Unfussiness is not the hallmark of Lerner's style here or anywhere. The disappearing town concept is one of his many story ideas. See also, On a Clear Day You Can See Forever, that works better in the setup than in the unwinding. And in its obvious debts to Oklahoma, and Carousel, exotically set romances with contrasting serious and comic couples, Brigadoon can seem derivative, even in its oddity. Only the inventiveness of Edisif Mandvi and Stephanie J.